Coming to you from our opulent and luxurious 4x8 refurbished room closet at the national headquarters in Indianapolis. With duct tape studio lights and a mic that you barely can hear, we hope to entertain and educate you. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Hello and welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast. I am your host, Mark Seavey, reporting live from the Rachel Ray Balsamic Drizzle House of Recording. I don't know, can we get her as a sponsor? We really need to work on that.
Or a guest.
As a guest, yeah, that'd be fine too, as long as she brings more free drizzle. Either way, we've got a very special guest today, Marlon Smith, a very engaging young man. Marlon's going to share his story, how as a U.S. immigrant, he came here from Canada and then he served in the military. His parents were from Canada and he never pursued citizenship after moving to the U.S. at age 6 until after 9/11, when he decided that he wanted to be a U.S. citizen. And then in 2002, he began his journey. He became a U.S. citizen in 2003. And within just a few weeks was talking to military recruiters and enlisted in the U.S. Air National Guard, where he served as a firefighter. And then in 2008, he served as a medic. He later served as a Coast Guard officer and is now back in the Air Force Reserves as a logistics officer. And he's thankful every day for the opportunity he's had to continue to serve. His family taught him how to be successful, and the military provided him a direction to focus his dedication. He became a member of American Legion Post 184 in Georgia after his deployment in 2011, and he'll talk about that briefly. And he's currently serving in England and Oxford, and you'll get to hear about that as well. So hope you enjoy our interview with Marlon Smith, and here he is. And now we are joined by Marlon Smith. Marlon, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join us. We appreciate you being here, and welcome to the show.
See you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Ashley, you are up first.
All right. So, I know we just did a little bit of, about your background in their intro, but, Marlon, I'm really interested, you after 9/11, you decided that you wanted to pursue U.S. citizenship, and I kind of wanted you to walk us through a little bit of that journey and like what really like inspired you. And then, you found yourself in a recruiting station, not so long after that, and then you continue and became a service member. So tell me a little bit about. Go on.
No, great question. I'm gonna make sure my earbuds in. So I think all of us have been impacted by 9/11 in different ways, but it was for me a moment of reflection. So my parents never became citizens. I came over when I was 6 from Vancouver, and they didn't pursue it for themselves. And I was 18, 19, and obviously 9/11 happened. And I think for me, you have, at least the way I processed it was, what am I doing with my life? And I didn't really feel like I was contributing on a level I wanted to contribute to. And also being in this country since I was 6, it was kind of like this moment of, all right, where am I? So I'd started the citizenship process. I'd been a legal alien since I was 6, going through that process, going to Los Angeles and renewing my green card every so many years. But for me, it was like this powerful feeling like, all right, I'm here. I'm getting to enjoy all the benefits, the freedoms of this country, my friends, the family that I had that was in the States. So for me, it was just powerful. So in 2003, after some time of pursuing it, since 9/11, it finally happened. I got the call, hey, you're going to the federal building in Atlanta. At the time I was living in Savannah, Georgia. So I went up, got a hotel room, and it was powerful. I walked in there and there was 25 other folks from 25 different countries. And it just hits you like everyone in this room is coming from somewhere else, and you're seeing them, just the emotion, all these feelings. You're taking your citizenship test. You're talking about your state at the time. And it was really powerful for me. So it was like, okay, I left that and I was just like, I say patriotism high, but I just really felt pumped, and I felt like, wow, this is. And talking to a few of the other folks coming from different countries, what their journey was, why they decided to become a citizen, and it just felt like this was kind of leading me to this moment. So I'm in Savannah, and I'm moving into an apartment, and this is part of the story too. So this gentleman comes up to me, says, "My name's Will. Do you need help?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And we start talking. We're still friends today. He retired as a sergeant major, Will McVeigh, and that I was just, it was like all these things. So there's the becoming a citizen, moving into this apartment, being surrounded. Savannah's, got 75th Ranger Battalion. It's you have a lot of folks that serve. So I came back from Atlanta, and it was like, I really want to, I really want to serve, and I really want to, I say, give back to a country that's given me so much. So that was a big feeling for me. And watching, kids my age, 19, 20, go over, and I felt like, well, this is, I don't know how to put it. It just felt like, I guess how folks felt in Pearl Harbor, and you wanted to contribute to the fight. So I started the recruiting process, started looking at the Army initially. Folks were talking about infantry and bonuses, and I was like, I appreciate it. And then I met with someone who talked to me about, the fire service, and it was like, all right, I felt like my feeling was going to help. Like that was my calling. I wanted to, whether it was medic or fire, but the moment they said fire apprentice, I was just like, that's it. And anyways, so little short story on long story. And being the son and grandson of immigrants. So I said Canada, but that story actually starts in Portugal, when my mother came over when she was 4. So there's just this feeling of us coming, whether her coming to Canada and then me coming to the States, and just feeling like, wow, this is what a journey. And and that feeling of wanting to give back.
That's powerful. You're talking about 3 generations of immigration and the journey to citizenship, and then the ultimate form of citizenship, which is giving back to, the country that, like you said, has all these benefits, all these perks. And I feel like it's very serendipitous when you're in the right place at the right time.
Right. So. Yeah, it's a great point.
All right, Jeffrey, you're up.
All right. I started out being really disappointed in you, because I read all these branches, and none of them were my beloved Marine Corps. Then I realized that you wanted to be a firefighter and a medic, and I thought to myself, Marines only cause the need for firefighters and medics, therefore we wouldn't have had anything that would have appealed to you.
And that's when you're on liberty, which makes it even worse.
So I'm going to give you a pass on that one. What I'm not going to give you a pass on is this Canada thing, because I'm from Michigan, which we call tropical Canada, by the way. That's where you guys go to spring break, and then we keep going south to Florida.
Right.
So I don't know if you've seen, there's a docuseries on Netflix about immigration, and one of them was about military people, because you're given this promise that if you come here and you serve, you have this clear path to citizenship. But I don't think it's that easy, and I don't think that they give you clear instructions, like as you're separating. And if you miss that and you separate before you start it, from what I gathered from the docuseries, because everything on Netflix is true. But so I want to kind of hear it from you for like, what is that paperwork process like, and getting that promised citizenship from serving?
Well, I didn't. It's just to be clear. So I became a citizen before I joined. So yeah. So February of 2003, and then by the time I kind of finally got through everything, it was September 6th. I wanted to be September 11th, 2003. So there was several months, and although it was a long journey, that wasn't my path. So for folks that have gone through that, I could say my perspective on it. For the folks that serve here and there, to me, if you've enlisted or you become an officer, whatever, and you're a non-citizen, I do feel like this is something, there's no questions asked. So I agree with you. To me, you're willing to stand up and be less than, goodness, 0.25% of our United States, and to really say, hey, even though I don't know you and everyone over here, I'm willing to put my life on the line for you. And to me, to offer that to that person, I feel pretty passionately about supporting. There's no question for me. It wasn't my journey, but I'm glad to kind of go. Advocacy would be, I'd be with you on that. I haven't seen that series. Yes, Netflix is always true. I don't know if Netflix is always true, but I do feel that there's so many folks that we have 360 million maybe in the United States. I could be off. So I don't know that. Let's say somewhere between 330 and 360. I don't know the exact amount, and the percentage that serve is, I think, less than 3 million in total, all the reserve and active duty. So, and then you're raising your hand and going, hey, I want to serve this country, even though I'm not a citizen of it yet. It's powerful for me to go, yeah, there's, you've gotten through basic, you've gone through technical school, you're out there. And if something comes up and we got to go to Afghanistan, Iraq, something going on to support a country in need in South America or in India, you're willing to do that. And there's no questions asked. And it's like, there's no pause for me. It's absolutely, thank you.
I 100% agree with you. I think you should get your DD 214 at your citizenship swearing in ceremony the
Right.
day you get out, without any of that bureaucratic nonsense that they put people through. So thanks for coming over the border and not adding to our litter problem, because I'm sure you're really, really steadfast on, because littering's a big crime in Canada. So just don't bring us any of your beer, please. None of it.
Yeah. No, you don't want any Labatt? That's a big thing. My grandfather was a snowbird for many years, so he'd come down to Spring Hill, Florida, right near Tampa. And whenever I'd come to see him, it was always stocked with Canadian beer.
Oh.
So that was his big thing, whatever you'd go to his local Publix and stock up. But yes, we are big. Litter, I left pretty early. I do go back quite a bit because I have family in Toronto, near your neck of the woods, and I have family in Vancouver. So I do try and come back and see them. But yeah, it's anyways, good. Yeah, good question. Sorry, I didn't fit into that one where the citizenship came before for me. So
it's okay. Jeff, as usual, is wrong though. The Molson's Triple X is one of the best beers going. You can get I think you could get like 20 of them for like $7. And we used to run across the border in Vermont to go and get it occasionally. Second of all, if there's ever been anyone more pro-Canada than me, I don't know who that is, even though I haven't spent enough time there. But 3 of my top 5 destinations are in Canada. My favorite band is Great Big Sea out of Newfoundland. My favorite TV shows are Psych and Supernatural, both filmed in Vancouver. And my favorite sport is curling. So I am essentially a Canadian without the actual citizenship.
Curling
or politeness.
Yeah, curling sounds. It sounds like there's more involved with curling, but it just when you look at it, you go, what is this? This is something everyone can get behind. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a sport. It's a sport played on ice that encourages drinking while you play it. There's nothing not to like about curling. And I did watch because I was looking recently. They had the World Championships of curling, and it was in Alberta. And I actually put into my search engine, how long will it take me to drive to Alberta? And the answer was a lot longer than I was willing to drive, considering the event was televised. And it was closed because of coronavirus. But Alberta, one of the many places I would like to go. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. It's a really big place. There's lots to see. And I pretty much grew up in Vancouver. That's where my folks met. And I still have my grandparents are still, well, my father's side are in Vancouver, and then on my mother's side in Toronto. But it's a beautiful place. The weather can be dreary at times. But yeah, it's, Whistler's not too far away if you know Vancouver, and it's a beautiful place during the summer to walk around, or if you're into, snowboarding or skiing. So haven't been able to go back right now because I'm overseas, but yeah.
And you have not lived, listen to me, Jeff, you have not lived until you celebrated Canada Day with people from Newfoundland. I'm telling you, top 5 thing you can ever do in your entire life. Party on Canada Day.
I've not done that.
With Newfies. They are amazing people, spectacular. One last thing is that when you talk about Canada, most people don't know, like one of the very first Medal of Honor recipients I ever met was a gentleman named Pete Lemon, who was actually a Canadian citizen when he earned the Medal of Honor. And in looking through the rolls of Medal of Honor recipients, there's quite a few actually from Canada. So there's a big tradition of Canadian military service. But so what is it you do now?
So great question. So currently I'm the Assistant Chief of Fire Operations here in RAF Croughton, which is for the Air Force, one of the bases here. And I'm also in the reserves still, attached to a unit in Charleston. And yeah, so over here in my capacity as a civilian, I'm an Assistant Chief of Fire Operations. So I've got about 45 British firefighters on a rotating schedule that I manage and operate with, and so I lucky to serve them and serve the community, and it's been great. I did a different job for 3 years before I went to operations. I was the fire prevention chief, so I had a team of fire inspectors, and we inspected sites that we had, facilities, Air Force, and others across the UK, and so to me, when the opportunity to come overseas came up, my wife and I kind of talked about it, and was like, wow, this is great. This is back in 2017. And she's like, all right, I'm going to put my professional career on hold because this is us going overseas, maybe seeing Europe, maybe, having our child, our oldest one, see these places that we might dream of doing when we retire. So it was an awesome opportunity. So as to be able to do that and continue to stay in the military, however, I had to, for the Coast Guard, I had to just to get involved in the Naval War College. So I had to do academics for the first 2 years towards a master's degree. And then a buddy of mine reached out to me and said, do you want to go back in the Air Force Reserve? Because he knew I wanted to all along. And he said, yeah, I'd love to help you. And anyway, so I was like, all right, let me think about this. And and it just kind of, So after serving 8 years in the Coast Guard, I kind of changed again and came back and became a logistics officer attached to an aerial port squadron they call Port Dog in the Air Force Reserve. So so I've enjoyed bouncing around. I always tell young folks, I guess I'm no longer that, the great thing about the military is, you get this amazing training, but you can do different things. I started as a firefighter, did that for 5-6 years in the reserves, became a medic, deployed, got to go to Israel as well. And then I was like, man, I really, I'm meeting some officers, some are good, a lot are bad, but I really wanted to serve at the next level. And I was challenged when I was deployed, and that really pushed me to go, I'm really going to pursue this. I think I could lead at the next level. And the Coast Guard picked me up, and it's been, and I did that for a while. And then obviously now I'm back in the blue.
Well, so I graduated from a military college there in Charleston, and
Citadel.
That was and that's the last time I will ever go south in the summer unless I'm absolutely forced to. So I would rather be in Vancouver. But all right, we will take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with Marlon in just a second.
100 Miles for Hope is back, and we're taking it to the next level. This year, you could choose over 40 different activities and track your progress on a handy mobile app. We have sweet swag to commemorate your journey, including tech shirts, baseball caps, hoodies, pins, patches, and challenge coins. All proceeds from these purchases support veterans and military families through the Veterans and Children Foundation. Head to legion.org/100 miles to get started.
All right, we are joined again by Marlon Smith, and so where is it you're currently in England?
Yes, I'm in Oxford. If you know University of
Oh, yeah.
Oxford, I am in Oxford. My wife, when we looked at this location, my wife got her she got her bachelor arts degree in art history. And if you know Oxford, it's beautiful. There's a lot of history, culture, amazing museums. So the base I was working at was, she immediately looked at the base, and this is, I don't know if we've had spouses do this and go, oh, I want to live there. I no offense to the military community, but I really want to be part of the community. And I think that's important for folks that do go overseas, to really embed yourself with that community. As long as it's safe to do so, there's no OPSEC, stuff going on there, really to kind of delve into that culture. So for us, we're just about 25 minutes away from the main city center where the University of Oxford is, which is amazing. The train station, which could take you into London, or lots of parts through the UK. And it's not too far from my work. So that is where I'm at, is Oxford, England.
Well, as an infantry guy, your choices are somewhat more limited. It's Fort Bragg, nah. Fort Benning, nah. Fort Polk, nah.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, yeah, I'll take that one.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're up, Ashley. Go.
Okay, so I just have to start here. So my 3 favorite comedies that are Canadian made, in this order: Trailer Park Boys, Supernatural, Letterkenny.
What about Strange Brew? No Strange Brew? That's
I have
Letterkenny.
not watched.
Are you kidding me? Her parents were in middle school when Strange Brew came out.
The actors that have come from that. Well, I'll give you Trailer Park Boys. I get a lot of British people that come up to me with that when they find out I'm Canadian, and they start sending me clips of Bubbles. It's Bubbles, Bubbles. And then I start watching and I start laughing again. Yeah, Bubbles is one of the characters. You'll have to shed this to Jeff so he can be, especially Kat.
I will bestow the culture of Trailer Park Boys, Jeff, to you. That is my gift to you.
Yes, there you go. You start with South Park, and then somehow folks that I meet, that's where I find
the transition.
They make the transition.
Hey, buddy.
Not juvenile enough. Wait. We've been on South Park for too long, and then we just kind of we go into that.
And you guys, the darling of the award season was Schitt's Creek. That's Canadian, and none of you brought that up.
Schitt's Creek is really good.
It's too high end. I don't know how to say it.
It has production value. We don't like that production value.
Usually we have music that we start off with. I'm gonna see if super producer Holly can do the Blame Canada song from the
oh my
South
goodness
Park.
Oh, I used to get that all the time, time. My friends in California. That could wait for this segue. That would be like, as you intro this, like, here we go.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they cut the way, if you remember that cartoon, the way they cut the cartoon that was Canadian, different from every.
Yeah, because only the bottom jaw moves on the Canadians. I always thought that was hilarious. All right, we're robbing Ashley of her question.
Oh, no, this is great. This is fantastic. I had to, of course, put in my movies because Mark had to put his top 3 in. So I had to nerd it up. So I saw that, you have, obviously you're doing a lot of different events and you're volunteering, and I just wanted to see what causes are important to you. What are some of the things you're involved with? You're a member of American Legion Post 184 in Georgia. Tell us about some of the stuff that you've done within the community and some of the things you're passionate about.
So thanks, Ashley. I appreciate that one. So again, get back from my deployment, and I don't know what everyone else's experiences was in other vets, but for me, I recognized when you're deployed, it's like nonstop. You're involved with stuff and you're used to it. You're just like, all right, we're PTing, we got a mission. I had aerovac missions coming in. And as an NCO, I was just getting after it, and I loved it. But when I came back, even as a firefighter, I was struggling. I was just struggling to stay connected. And I had a different perspective when I interacted with folks. And I wasn't trying to be cold or anything. I just didn't feel like I could kind of share some of the experiences. And at that point, I'd been in maybe 8-9 years, been overseas twice. And so my command chief, Chief Irvin, I'm going to do a shout out to her. She's retired now. And I was telling her I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And she's like, I'm sponsoring you. Tell me where you live. I was like, for what? She's like, the American Legion. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, everyone there is kind of older than me, like a lot older than me, like 30 years older than me. And I had this it was just the way that I approached it, Ashley, was just kind of very judgmental. And it was just not really, so I'll go, I go. And it was just being around. Yes, the folks were older than me. A lot of them were smoking. That was still permitted in Georgia in the American Legion, so I was like, I'll wait till the smokers leave and then I'll hang out and then talk to folks from Korea, World War II, Vietnam. And so kind of segue into this, I would volunteer up there. A lot of them weren't really computer savvy. So I was like, hey, can you work on the roster? Okay, let me break away from the fire department. I'll work on the roster. We need to update the listing. All right, this person hasn't paid, but he's 86, so he probably needs the hand delivered mail instead of the email. Little things like that. Karaoke night. Will you sponsor karaoke night? They'd come up there, 80 years old, just killing it, doing some Elvis. So
what's your go-to song? What's your go-to song?
I love it because I do like karaoke. So for me, goodness, I've got a couple. I definitely go with stuff that's easy. So I go by a Wild Thing by the Trogs. That's an easy one to sing. You really can't mess it up too much. If you're, if you really want to get someone to feel something, occasionally I'll do James Taylor, Fire and Rain. And then to make them all cry, Tears in Heaven, Eric Clapton. So yeah, so I do like to karaoke. You got me there. So,
I had to put you in a hot seat. I know my go-to is Bohemian Rhapsody. I can hit those notes.
That's beyond that. Yeah, you're on the next level. I mentioned the Trog. There's like 12 words in that song, and they're repeated. So I volunteered up there a lot when I came back from the deployment. I've been a volunteer firefighter off and on since I became a firefighter. When I got back from fire school, from tech school from the Air Force, I was trying to get a city job right away. And they're like, all right, I know you want to do it. We just did a big hiring in Savannah Fire. So go join the local volunteer department. And that's what I did. I joined Southside Fire, which is now Chatham EMS. And it was great. It was just, started going on calls. I had a lot of certifications from the military because I was in the reserves. And so yes, I've been doing that on and off since about 04, 05. And then still serving as a federal firefighter, still being a volunteer firefighter. And then whenever I had time, I was helping out with the Legion. My wife wasn't loving all of this, but it was helping my mental health post-deployment big time because I needed to stay busy. And that was and if I felt like I was, doing good, if I was communicating, let me rephrase that. If I was engaging with other vets, I was getting something out of it. Even if the folks, didn't matter what, if they were, Marines, Navy, whatever it was that came in the Legion. Occasionally we get someone that had an Agent Orange case or some kind of case, and we'd help out. We couldn't, maybe filing a little bit and then send them to Charleston or help out with that. We had lots of parades. So there was always events going on. Our Legion's pretty busy. A lot of bingo nights, doing lots of bingo, fish fry, turkey shoot, Georgia's got a lot going on to raise money for the community. So it was pretty cool. I didn't realize how active the Legion was. So volunteering with the Legion, getting involved with that. I tried to go to all of our ceremonies. And occasionally I'd talk about my journey, which I'm discussing with you guys about, becoming a citizen, feeling that after 9/11 came, like, I really want to become a citizen. I really want to join. So I would share that, and then being a fireman as well. Volunteer firefighting. And then I did a lot of stuff we did a lot of stuff with children that might get lost. So we do fingerprinting and registering. I don't know how it is in the Northeast. I'm sure it's probably similar, and on the West Coast, but just in case kids got lost, to easily identify them. So yeah, that's kind of what, that's kind of where my time was devoted, and things that I'm passionate about. So hopefully that answered your question.
No, thank you for sharing. You are just the gamut of things. You definitely stay busy. There's no arguing there.
Yeah.
And your karaoke songs they're okay. I like them.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, you'll out good. Good. Occasionally the boss. Occasionally Bruce Springsteen comes out to the folks here that are fans of the boss, hopefully. But yeah, nothing too current, you know.
Well, you're
Maybe Blink-182.
definitely in boss mode. I will say that. You are very accomplished. You're well-rounded. You're giving back to the community. You're also a Legion member, which is pretty sweet because I know we have several Legion posts in the UK, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. I'm just really impressed. I'm really impressed. I'm so happy you're sharing your story with us today.
Well, thank you. I want to kind of deflect and go, I really feel like if, depending on where you are in your life, for me, the military has really helped me. And, you know, I appreciate you saying that, but it was kind of, I felt like there was a lot of things on the surface that I wanted to do. And when I talk about, you know, as much as 9/11 gave me this, hey, this really pushed me. But since then it was like, all right, awesome. I can, you know, jump in and get involved in different things. And it's worked out. There's been challenges. I've had challenging supervisors and NCOs that I've had to navigate, and officers. But purpose is, you know, the firefighting, you know, being a firefighter, serving the military, having that purpose to wake up with it. And so thanks for saying that. But again, it's really been awesome. 18 years in September. So
Wow.
and the one other thing I do, so I own a small little I own some properties in Georgia. I started doing that after I got back from my deployment as well. And I do talk to veterans and try and help them about just teaching them about that, just real estate, business, finances. So if I get young airmen or soldiers or Marines, it's something like, hey, you know, TSP, you know, max it out, but also depending where you are, you know, what are your options? The market's crazy right now, but
Yes.
Prior to the inventory being what it was, that it is currently, there was such an opportunity. So I got back from my deployment and I started buying properties, but the prices were just 20,000, 30,000 for a house. So it was just, so that was something else. And I've tried to kind of give back again to other folks that, hey, you know, firefighters, military members, because I just think, hey, I appreciate all that they do. And if they can, sometimes their pensions aren't that big. And it's like, hey, maybe a little something else. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's the other thing I'd say that is passionate for me.
All right,
You know,
Jeff, you're up. Oh,
Well, no, because Marlon here is joining you two degenerates because he went beyond his question into my question before I could ask it. Are you trying to now add to your job list and be a host on this show? I was going to ask you about real estate.
Sorry.
Unbelievable. So now while I figure out.
Let's go back.
No. While I figure out what I'm going to ask, I'm going to say, of course, Ashley picks that karaoke song because it's a half-hour long song and she gets to be up there for that long. That's just whatever. And if you are ever in Los Angeles, I have a post here where you can find people of all ages and all eras that you can come talk to. You can talk to I think we still have some. Do we still have any World War IIs? We might have one or two WW2s all the way to post 9/11. We have more post 9/11 than we have Vietnam at our post. So our karaoke is, your audience is going to skew a little younger. So you might have to, I don't know.
I'm going to Savannah then.
Huh?
Then I'm going to go to Savannah because I'm with him on the trogs, and you know, I would have gone with Oye Como Va, even though I don't speak Spanish. I think that would be fun.
Well, you could have done your Mongolian medal.
La Bamba. You could do a little La Bamba, Mark.
Bamba, yeah.
Don't hold out. Don't hold out. Richie Valens, come on.
We'll do some Rush in honor of the.
Rush.
Yes.
I was waiting. I was like, okay, he's already brought up Canada. Anyways,
it's because I'm living in the limelight. But all right, go, Jeff.
Yeah, but
I
only hit the surface on the real estate. So if you want to pick it up, I'm passionate about it. So I could talk more about how I got into that.
My feelings are a little bit hurt, and now houses and actually even just doorknobs are going to trigger me for the rest of my life. I'll walk up to a door and I can't walk through it so this real estate stuff, you specifically mentioned in my writing here for my question that you work with veterans. Does that work cross over into the Legion? Is the Legion helping or hurting or
not yet? I think there's opportunities. I think folks, I mean, if anyone listens to this and they're involved in real estate, maybe, you know, it's best example I have, you know, when I went to tech school, these kids got their first paycheck, right? And what do? They go off base and get a car for 25% interest rate. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh my gosh, no, get the Dodge Neon that like, when the wind blows, it rattles. Like, just, you know, save your money, max your TSP or put it aside. So for me, like, money and kind of balancing and understanding it, I've always felt like I've had a decent understanding of it. Real estate was unique. I knew I was interested when I was at tech school. I was renting my house up. I was making more money renting my townhome while I was at basic and tech school. And that was my earliest taste, because I was like, all right, hey, you know, all right, this guy's staying in my bedroom, this other guy's staying in the other room. He's like, oh, my friend wants to stay over. I'm like, all right, well, you're gonna have to pay this. And I was looking, then I'm getting my first A1C, my first E3 check, and then I get my rent from the guy staying there. I'm like, I love my country, but man, the real estate spanned me twice. But again, I love serving, so I continue to do it, but not aggressively. So I get back from this deployment in 2011. I'm telling you, I need to find something, I'd say, for my soul. The Legion is kind of answering that. But real estate is just like, there's just so much, and not a lot of folks had liquidity. And I've been saving while I was deployed. You know, I put a lot aside, again, talking about the importance of that. And now it's like, well, the rates are still ridiculously low, and they were selling houses, you know, for about 30,000, you know. And if you're in California, me telling you this is probably just like, because my mom's in California still, so in Santa Barbara, and my dad's in Marina Del Rey. So, you know, to kind of go, hey, I can get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $32,000. And I'm thinking to myself, that's like a car note. So it was my first experience. And I'm like, I'm going to get people to help me contract. Oh my goodness. So I hire some folks to help me with the project, friends of friends. I have fights that break out on the project, and I'm like, but the first one was the roughest. We went over budget, but I learned so much, and I kind of took my military and kind of like, all right, now I'm going to approach it this way. I'm going to put an offer down. I'm going to work with the banks, but I'm going to immediately get people to vet each aspect of the house to make sure before I jump all in, you know, and make that huge commitment, that I'm not buying something and there's just a major issue, like with the electrical or the air conditioning. And then after we did a couple, you know, now we have 8, you know, but that first, and we don't get, you know, it's like, hey, when one that comes up or there's a good deal, but it's tough now because the market's completely inflated. But I do try, and if, you know, I'll reach out to folks that I know that are military members or firefighters. We usually talk about the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that'll be kind of where we begin. And and they just, hey, what questions do you have? I'll connect them with people that I know that do it, you know, friends or family, and and they try it out, and usually it goes all right for them.
Wait, so you were still in when you started this. So I'm assuming, I don't know, does that mean, can you use the GI Bill while you're still in, or do you have to be out?
So GI Bill.
I mean, not the GI Bill, the VA home loan, sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't use VA at all. You
still haven't to this day?
Never.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why, again, this is going to get too far into real estate with you. We could do a segue, but a lot of times what mortgage lenders freak out about is it takes a while for VA to close and to get all their stuff together. So if you've got a good credit score, good debt to income ratio, and you're going to put maybe a little liquidity down, you know, depending on how good the VA loan is, you might end up just getting, you know, a regular loan. So it was a matter for me of moving quickly because you're competing with other buyers. So sometimes the VA doesn't help you on that. But zero down VA.
Most people got that E1 and up financing on that car, and even after they get out of the military, they're still paying for that car. So the VA home loan is great for them.
Yeah, so you can get it. The trick is, though, VA home loan is just that. It's supposed to be for your home loan, not for so what I'm discussing is obviously business. So you have to, you have to be careful in regards to what you're using it for. So that's another piece of it. So if it's a VA home loan, it's for a home that you occupy. Now you can leverage your home. There's a whole other conversation with that, where you're going, all right, what's the value of my home? Can I, loan against it? But it's important to know what you're doing. What's the value right now? A lot of people probably could do that because, in my opinion, these houses that I bought for $30,000 are 3 to 4 times, supposedly valued 3 to 4 times more in 6 years. And I'm going, nothing's changed, but the inventory, which is just no one's building, and there's just a lot of less houses. But it's for me, I've enjoyed, I'm lucky because I have people that I know that do it, like aggressively do it very well. And they've helped me because my properties, a lot of folks that I know have 50, 60. Now they've slowed down, but that period of time from 2011 to 2014 was just bonkers. I think the best deal that was offered to me was 5 houses for like $100,000, and I was
Whoa. For
and I
someone
couldn't
who's
do it.
moving like within the next week, like less than 10 days kind of thing, who is
That
also
was the
trying to buy a
market.
home right now, who
That
has
was the
used a VA
market.
home loan.
That was the
Wow.
market. That was the market. It's like in rural areas in America, that was the market. And it
I
was
believe it.
just they couldn't give them away. I mean, I felt bad. The first one I bought, the guy didn't even show up to the closing. He was that upset and insulted. And I was just like, that's what the market.
Oh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It's
And I
hard
still,
too because and not to interrupt you, but like I have
that's
found
right.
that a lot of folks in previous generations have a lot of equity built into their homes, and then when they find out it's not appraised at the sentimental right and all of the work, or sometimes folks will put work into their home and they try to do it like Mr. Fix-It style,
Yeah.
right? And then it's not done properly. And I can
Right.
say that when my time using VA home loan and when I had eventually purchased a house in
Right.
Ohio, you have to have someone come through and inspect. And, uh, even after I had put like 15 grand into my house in a year and I had to like, literally I had to move. I had to move for this job out in DC. And,
Right.
they came back and they appraised it only because it'd been a year, but even though I had done like $20,000 of work to it, I didn't get any of that money back, right? So you have to like manage the sentimental value versus what the VA is going to appraise for. And another program I don't know if you're familiar with that I know I personally used was Homes for Heroes, which was
Okay.
another avenue that allowed us to kind of get a check back both from the realtor, from the loan agency, and if they were like using that. So that's a really cool program. It's a national program, and it just depends on the realtor that you use. But
Right.
I would love, like, I wanted to rent that home out. It was in a beautiful neighborhood, brand new, great school system. But my HOA found out that 2 more houses were going up, and there was a local private college, and they said they shut it down. They were like, "You cannot rent this house out." It was a 3-bedroom, over 2,000 square feet. I paid over like it was like $200,000 for it, and then I
Right.
moved out to DC, DMV area, and it's like $800,000 for a 1,500 square foot home that isn't even updated. And now I'm moving to a townhouse because I couldn't use a VA home loan right now to be competitive when 10, 11 offers were being thrown out and houses were just gone. So
Right.
I would find this beautiful mid-century home I love, and it was just in the blink of an eye. I didn't
It's
even have a
not,
chance.
yeah, I can't
Tough.
talk
You're
about real estate right now. It's not,
it's tough.
what's
Yeah,
happening right now is just, I don't know of a time because I mean, folks have seen it coming. I mean, we could do a
mm,
segment on that for folks. Just telling,
yeah.
it's tough because you look at, all right, do I rent? Do I buy? Do I want to give someone all this money to rent? Or do I
Hmm.
feel like, and then I think the question becomes, will it maintain the value? And pretty much everything I'm hearing is they're saying yes, because the inventory in the building is not keeping up. So,
Right.
but it doesn't help. I'm going to be in the same situation when I come back to the States, where I'm going to be looking at a house and I'm going to see the value of it, the valuation. I'm like, it's going to be hard for me to swallow that and go, this house was for like 200,000 and now you're trying to sell it to me for like 400. What have
Yeah.
you done? Oh, you got a problem with
Right.
what? I don't even need to describe this to you because I've got 10 people behind you waiting to buy this house.
Right.
And you're just,
Exactly.
wow, this is the market. So what I'm referring to, where I'd say the timing worked out, was just, we got involved in it in 2011,
Mm.
where it was just, yeah, folks were trying to unload. I had some liquidity, I had good credit on hand. I just gotten back from my deployment. I'd saved up, and I had someone who was doing it already. And I just kind of, yeah, me and him got together and started doing it. So he's now made it a career. It's done very well for himself. For me, obviously, this is still my career, but I've created something where now I can leave that to my children, right? And hopefully teach them about business. Yeah, and it's something else, just, besides my military pension, which I'll get when I'm older because I'm reserve, and then obviously the fire department.
Well, that's
So.
fantastic. You are so well
Look at
rounded,
CB.
and I appreciate the knowledge. CB's just like, yeah,
CB just sitting there
liking
silent
this.
while we
Hey,
had a real estate show.
I live in Indiana. Homes are so cheap here. Like I have a 4-bedroom house, and I pay half what I paid for a studio apartment rent in Washington, D.C. I was paying $1,400 for a studio apartment in D.C. And I moved to Indiana, and it was like, make it rain. Like, it's so cheap out here.
I am paying over $3,200 for a 1-bedroom with an attached bath in a 10 by 10 den with a little bathroom.
If I didn't have a family, I'd live in one. I would get one of those little mini houses and just sleep in the 200
that's
square
not a
foot
bad
house.
idea. Tiny homes, minimalism.
Speaking of
it's
that,
not a bad idea.
And obviously I've got the camera set up, but tonight is tent night with my daughter. So after I get off this, we're going to do a little fire outside, some s'mores, and then we're doing camp out night. So in England, we're going to see how it goes.
I love it. I did that when I was a kid. I'm so happy people do that. Oh, my dad used to do that.
How old is your daughter?
She's 6. She turned 7 in July. And then the other one is, 15 months. But now we'll say this, the first time went great. The next 2 times she bailed. She's like, I'm out of here. And I'm like, no way. I set all this up. I'm sleeping by myself, whatever. Like, you can't, this is too much work.
You got to start with the indoor fort in like the living room. You got to take all the cushions off. You got to set the sheets up. You got to lace some lights. My dad used to pull out the Christmas lights and used to lace it all around and we'd watch a movie.
No, this is, so I mean, I got a tarp underneath, tarp on top. I've got, it's enough, got a little string for her light. I got these mats that are, blow up mats. They're supposed to make it nice. She's got 3 sets of mats, but there's got to be some element of roughing it. You know what I mean? So
glamping.
Glamping. Well,
glamping, hardcore glamping.
I'm an infantryman. Tents make you weak. Tents just soft.
Says the infantryman.
All right, Jeff, did you have any final thoughts there, Jeff? Or were you done?
No, because I'm never ever going to be able to buy a house in Los Angeles. So
no, you probably not.
No thoughts.
All right, Marlon. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your day. And for everybody else, we'll see you after the commercial break. Thank you again.
So you were discharged with a 20% disability rating, but now you can't hear so well and need help. Contact an American Legion service officer. Service officers are free of charge and they help all veterans. Find one near you with our online tool at legion.org/service officers.
All right, so we have completed our interview with Marlon Smith, and Ashley, as usual, we will start with you.
So Marlon is just the gamut of all things. Very impressive. I'm so happy that we got to listen to his journey from, his pursuit of U.S. citizenship to his journey in the military, how it is continuously, given him that drive and purpose, which I think a lot of our listeners can relate to once joining the military, and then continuing forward with those skills and training and opportunities therefore. And just a really well-rounded guy. And I was just so happy to hear just, again, from real estate to military to all the things that he does, right? It's refreshing. And I loved it.
Jeff?
I mean, it's cool. He's making the Queen proud from, oh wait, no, he became American citizen. No more worship, no more following the Queen. He was super impressive. He was, and he's done so many things in so many branches that I've said this about a couple of our guests, that his life could be turned into a movie. And I say that because, where I'm at, but that's how I kind of see things. And his story is is kind of big enough for the big screen, I feel like. And so it's fortunate that we were able to share that story with the world of however many people our world consists of.
My life is not set for the big screen, not in any way, shape, or form. Mine is very, very small screen. Yeah, I mean, he obviously has a good sense of humor about Canada, which is good because Canadians are the most fun to pick fun at usually. I do think it's funny that his mom lives in Santa Barbara when Santa Barbara from Psych is filmed in Vancouver. I think that's because I keep telling my wife, I really want to go and see where Psych's filmed. She's like, well, that's Vancouver. Like, do you want to go to Santa Barbara? Because my wife actually went to college in Santa Barbara, but we have not made it back yet. In fact, my experience in California so far is I went to LA once. No, I went to LA twice, and Sacramento and Barstow. Those are the only places I've ever been. And yeah, Barstow, not one of the highlights on the California tour. Sacramento, I actually liked Sacramento State. Very nice place. But that's neither here nor there. I hope to make it to Vancouver at some point, and I will encourage everyone in Vancouver that I meet to come and join the Coast Guard, the Air Force Reserve, and actually we need some Space Force Canadians. So, all right. Remember to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're there, rate and review us, preferably 5 stars. And if you want to send us feedback, you can comment at YouTube or Facebook, or you can send us an email at tangoalphalima@legion.org. And if you have people out there that you think would make a great guest, by all means, send us an email and we'll see if we can't hook that up. Everybody else, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye there, A.
Hey.